today I'll go over the TRS with you guys a little bit. The goal today will just be to get everybody a little hands-on with this, especially the people who haven't seen it before. Maybe some of you guys haven't even seen or touched this thing, and so we'll try to get that out of the way today. So the TRS is the Traverse Rescue Stretcher, and it's pretty much a flexible but becomes rigid when there's a patient on it stretcher that makes it easy to either hike someone off the hill, or in a life-threatening situation we can do like an emergency, like almost like a little short haul mission where we'll attach the patient in the stretcher via this bridle to our carousel at the bottom of a long line, lift them off the hill, and line to where there's going to be some sort of better care, either an ambulance or maybe an air ambulance waiting. And so this thing is pretty user friendly. It looks somewhat daunting, just with all the straps and everything.
But color coded.
It's really not. It is color coded, not that, but it's basically just kind of like your normal backboard. The spider straps will be kind of built into it. So as you can see, you kind of have this crossbody straps, which will kind of act like your spider straps. These yellow ones here are shoulder straps. Also, and these lower ones go through the inside of the thigh. So you're pretty much making a little harness for the patient. And the idea with that is because you can lift the people, you can lift them vertically with this as well. So the idea with that is just that the patient won't slide out. The red one going down is their kind of like their foot band, so that works really well with our boots. With the big lugs on the whites, that hooks in there really nicely, but this will work if you have to take your boots off as well. The straps and everything on this are pretty simple to use. What is important to note with the crossbody ones is that you want the red to be exposed when they're secured. So there's a way you can do this where the red would be covered, and then you're not able to manipulate the strap if you have to tighten it, loosen it, or whatever. To take these off, it's real simple. You just feed it through. The buckle just goes through the other buckle. And that's basically how all the straps on this work. The ones for the shoulder and thigh strap are pretty much the same. You have the little buckle out here, and it fits through those little slots in there. So that makes it real simple.
Now, is this something where you guys would actually drop it down to cruise on the ground, or you guys would have someone?
Yes.
Okay. So we would drop it down, like if we were there, we had somebody down, we need to do this, you would drop it down to us.
Yep.
We would hook it in, get it set up.
Yep, they'll make a lap or two for you until you're ready. You'll call them back in and hook them up.
Perfect.
All of our shot crews, we cross-train with Silver Stakes. They're right here in Black Mountain. They all carry it, and we cross-train with them so they know how to package on the ground as well. And they're becoming really prevalent just across the wildland in general, as far as the countrywide goes. So,
And you guys carry this on the ship too?
this stays in our fuel truck.
Oh, the fuel truck.
Yep.
Okay.
Which the reason that is because before we would have to do this, we'd have to reconfigure with the long line, and he's gonna have to set down anyways. So that's the main reason it stays in. If he's out flying and the TRS is in the helicopter, he can't get out. It's not gonna do much good.
Gotcha. So, Flesh, besides your line medic, who else is line medic here, or anybody? Alex, your line medic. So we'll all have to learn how to, to kind of go through this and everything, but we get thrown into it. But the line medics, especially if you guys are out and about, you guys might see these a little bit more.
Yes.
Going around across the region or nation.
And so, yeah, we'll have Aaron be our patient here. And so, before we put it on the hoist and lift it off the ground, kind of just have everybody go through in groups and just practice kind of hooking them up and packaging them with the straps and just get used to that. Once you do it a couple times, it's super simple.
It looks more confusing than it really is.
It really is. And one thing to remember too, especially when we get into hooking it up, is that everything orange on here is a hard point. So like you couldn't hook anything like a carabiner or anything to like one of these straps. But any of these loops that are orange are all the hard points for the system.
Are those the rated points?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And then these straps on here are really just kind of shoulder straps. So if we had to carry the patient, because you could hide them off in this too if you wanted to. It makes it real simple for the carriers, so you're not at like a suitcase carry. You can get them up on your shoulder. But if we're gonna fly the patient out, we'll try to take these off just so they don't come loose in the air and fly up into the rotor system or something. So if you want 2, 3 guys, first group, come over here and we'll just start putting them in. And so,
Yeah, Chief, one of you guys hands on with this actually packaging the patient.
and so it's pretty simple. You're gonna have those 2 other matching yellow and blue ones down there, and those are gonna go, right between his legs. You'll want the blue facing up, or out, I guess, so it's exposed.
You go up like that, and then this is first.
You don't have to take off the patient's boots, we just do it to not ruin our gear.
Yeah, right. Man. Yeah, these are one second. You've been on the line for how long?
She's like, you're just
And there, so this one here, just we snug it up against it. So, like if we need to, we just snug it up here, but then we pull it down. Where he is. Okay.
Easy there, Zach. I know, man.
Gosh.
What's going on?
Doesn't have to be 7 kids.
they're honoring the cost of the logger taking out. He's not getting full price for log.
And then so that red one running down by his feet, if you want to adjust that at all, it's pretty simple. It's the buckle is the same as this yellow one, but just so. And that's pretty much it for the confusing part. The rest of this are just these crossbody straps. Like I said, are fairly simple. You're just putting the buckle through the other buckle, making sure that the red is exposed so you can tighten and loosen it.
Yeah, you're right.
And then you can pull from the other side and pull the slack out of them, just kind of like.
There you go, you pull.
And then there's no special way to secure the the loose end of this. So what we've been doing is just kind of just taking it, folding over, and just tucking it in, just so it's kind of less confusing for the people treating the patient. Less straps.
Something to be cognizant if you're getting this or receiving this and you get to the patient and he's already on a backboard. You're not going to be able to use the backboard inside of the TRS.
Okay.
So there's something.
There's another device that we have that's called the Bowman Bag, if anyone's heard of that. And it's really just a big kind of body bag that you're putting someone packaged on the stretcher in. Super simple, it's just a big bag that rips open with Velcro. You slide them in with the backboard, close it back up, and then it'll hook to the bridle and to the carousel the same way. You have to use that with a backboard. If you just threw a patient in the Bowman Bag, they would literally just fold like a taco if you tried to lift them up. So you're either needing to use this, or if you already have a backboard, you can opt for the Bowman Bag.
So would that be some good information to pass along if we have?
Absolutely, that's why I brought that up.
Okay, good. So we just pass along, that would be within our,
Because then
line 9.
Or if you're hiking up as a line medic and you hear that, Silver State's already put them on a backboard, you can start thinking, okay, if we do need to fly him off, I'm going to need either a Bowman Bag or a TRS, and then I'm going to have to transfer him from the backboard to this. So then you're going to have to move him again.
Yeah.
Because you can do the full C-spine precautions on here. They have these, I guess if you have blocks that have Velcro on them here, and then this headband strap to kind of help just secure him. This isn't so much for C-spine, but just for, if he was like this, we would strap his head in just so there's less movement. But you can really just do everything you would do on the normal backboard on this, pretty much. And then so once the helicopter shows up, they'll have that carousel, which will be at the bottom of our long line. And then so how we get the patient connected to that is by this bridle system. And again, kind of looks more confusing than it is. But what's nice about it is it's all color coded. So you'll see these red tapes and numbers on there with the blue. Those are going to go to the red tape with the blue number up here. And then there's going to be black ones with blue letters that go on the back too down there. And so that makes that pretty simple. When you hook them up, you want the opening end of the carabiner to face in towards the patient, and that's just to prevent, as he's lifting up, something getting caught in there and forcing the carabiner open so that it could slide off. And then we have this orange strap with another carabiner which is really just a redundancy for the patient. So if for whatever reason a pilot accidentally released the hook and the patient would fall and didn't mean to, this is just looped through the carousel and hooked onto this big center ring here. So he would drop about that distance. It's going to suck for him, but it's better than plummeting down to the earth. So that's what this is for, and we'll hook that all up with it when that gets brought over.
Yeah, it's just the secondary.
Sorry to interrupt you, but the order of operations, so you're going to want to get this hooked up prior to calling the ship back in with just simply that this takes more time to hook to there than this does to that, just to hooking this ring onto the end of the long line. So, and when the rotors are turning, it's kind of confusing, people are panicking a little more, and just having more connections done, probably better.
So if you guys want to, the group that was working on them want to take this, hold it up to it.
Any ideas what this red line might be?
Tagline?
Tagline for what?
When you first start off, so he doesn't start spinning?
Yep. He's actually guiding him in as he's coming in, or making sure he's stable as long as he can be before you have to let go. Yeah. Or, typically if we're going to long line him, we're going to be in the timber. So you're going to want to be conscious of where he's going to be lifting. So you can kind of manipulate him at least up to 15, 18 feet.
So we also have another one, and if you're in heavy timber, I would recommend it probably every time, because we found that with the last time, or the time before we did this last, is that even in 30-foot tall PJ, they're still not clear of the treetops for a while. So and that extends at the end of this line, and we end up swinging somebody into a push. So we have another line that's like I think 100 feet. There's another rope with a link on the end of it that breaks at like 10 pounds. So they can keep lifting and lifting and lifting, and then when you're done, just yank on it. And then, so I would probably hold on to that until they clear the treetops and the pilot can start going forward. Because they're going to spin, they're going to move around as long as the pilot isn't directly over the top, which is pretty hard. They can stay over the top of them, then it's good. But yeah, once they clear the treetops, then I'd let go of the patient.
So with our carousels, guys, you don't have to worry about releasing anything. Any rings or stuff like that just goes straight on there. There is a manual release, this red knob here, and that'll open up this bottom hook. And that's just there.
Can you spin that around, or I'll get on the other side?
So open here, we'll open this manually.
And then so when you hook this up, you see how it's just kind of looped onto the carousel itself. Then you're just taking the carabiner, hooking it onto that ring as well, and that's your redundancy. And so once you're at this point, you'll have someone on the tag line, and whoever's communicating with the helicopter, when you're ready, they'll lift him up a couple feet off the ground, pretty much like to your knee height. And that's when we're going to go through and make sure, we want him to fly as level as possible. We don't want him to be tilted up or down. And so these can all be adjusted, but the only way we're going to know how he's sitting in the air is for him to come off the ground. So he'll come up, the helicopter will stop right about there, just lifting him. And while he's here, we can look through and check. And so these can all be adjusted. You would just undo this little safety knot on each one. And then you can adjust to bring his head down, his legs up, whatever you need to do. The important thing with these, though, is the tension has to be off of them for you to move the strap. So you'll have to have someone here. If you had to move this one, you'll have to have them come and take the tension off of it, and then your buddy can go ahead and adjust those.
Are you taking these off if you're not using them, or is that not a concern?
If we're gonna fly, we'll tuck them, but we'll also, if we remember to, we'll take them off. Just so they don't come loose in flight and end up going up into the
In this
rotors.
situation, if we forget them, it's not,
Not a key point, but
So we preset these, that's why they're color coded. So generally, obviously want the head a little bit above the feet, at least that's what we've been taught.
yeah.
So they're preset to where it should sit like that, but of course, situation dependent, you might have to manipulate. We don't know the size of the human that we're getting, so.
You ever fly with an attendant?
We are not short haul ships, so no. But we did just get approved for a hoist through legislature, and that's coming down the pipe here probably next year. So that's.
And then so if he's going up, and if you and the helicopter are a little off, like you say he's looking up, but you're way over here with the tag line because you're trying to prevent him from bumping into you'll have to communicate to the person talking to the helicopter that you need the helicopter to move more over your position. So that way, because he's going to run out of lines here in a second, when that happens, if you're over here and the helicopter's centered over there, you're going to send him swinging into whatever's around. So just make sure you're trying to get the patient and the helicopter as in line as possible before you let go of that. So that way it's nice and gentle for the patient. And then once it gets to this point, whoever's talking to the helicopter is going to clear him to fly, and it's going to be it from what you're doing on the ground.
Just another little tidbit. Before we ever do one of these, there's a go, no-go checklist that we have to do with the pilot prior to him lifting. And part of that procedure is actually removing a fuse in the helicopter so that he couldn't, oops on the pinky and release him. So if he were to ever get tangled up or need to punch the line, that pilot couldn't do that. He would have to consciously hit the manual release saying bye-bye. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. There's no accidental bye-bye. He has to consciously apply pressure to the foot pedal to actually let him release, which would be a tough call.
Yeah.
But so there's steps prior to us even getting up in the air that we have to go through to do that, and that's one of those steps, just so you know.
If you want to look through that checklist.
I missed how, say we're on the ground and this is coming down towards us, how's it going to be packaged? Is it going to be all rolled up like it was?
Yes.
Just like how you
Yep,
guys
it'll all
showed
be
it?
hooked up to this carousel or in a cargo net, depending on if we're sending backboard and all that stuff as well. The last training we did, everything we hooked onto a carabiner and just set on the carousel, and it worked out really well. So you'll get it just in that package. It'll be all rolled up and packaged just how you
So
saw
come
it.
down, you just do that manual release.
And then you'll pull it out of its sleeve and hopefully have a little bit of an idea. How to do
Officially
it.
still from that last training, our SOP is going to send first out all the med stuff we got together. Is that still correct?
That's our new procedure, yeah.
So it, that's what we found with the training was, should we bring, so what do they need? So we send everything, so we kind of came up with that we're just going to send everything we got, the first out bag, this thing, the Bowman bag with it, right?
Yep.
Everything's going to come together, so you'll have...
It's more just to prevent, because we did a big training with this, where I was involved in the scenario requesting stuff, and I didn't request like a med kit with it. I just asked for this specifically. So the guys on the ground are thinking, well, he only asked for the TRS, so that's all I'm gonna send. So then with their thinking, they sent more than what I asked for, and so we decided to just make that the norm, that regardless of what, if the person asks for one piece of gear, we're gonna send all of our stuff to you. So that way when it gets there, you're like, oh, that's right, I didn't need the TRS, I needed like the Bowman bag, or I needed a backboard. Well, now that's
So if
all
you're
coming.
running a medical mission, everything gets loaded.
Yes. We'd rather have the guys in the hill have more than they need than go, oh shit, we need this
Yeah.
another flight and some stuff.
Makes sense.
Medically stuff, I mean, is it pretty basic splinting, that kind of stuff?
Yes.
Yeah, you guys know.
You'll be able to
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
the DLS stuff.
Basic.
That's just to keep it when it's rolled up?
Yeah.